Hey guys, good morning. What a Monday morning to start a day with such a wonderful startup. I've got Kumar Anirudh, the co-founder of Acyclic. The reason we are taking such an early show is because Acyclic's really disrupting the finance industry with Ethereum-based blockchain. They're going to change the way you use UPI. Welcome to the show, Anirudh. How are you?
I'm good to be here. Thank you, Vishal.
No problem. I think we need to be a bit louder. One thing is, when I met you at the Cisco Launchpad, right? What amazed me is the way you're redefining the usage of UPI, the way you are going after international trade finance, the way you're doing e-commerce with blockchain. You want to take some time to explain what Acyclic is all about?
Sure. So what we essentially work around is conditional payments,
Okay.
smart contracts for UPI. What more can you do with payments? Payments in today's industry is have the conditions integrated right where in the payment channel itself. So when the payment, when these particular conditions are satisfied, at that point the payment will be processed. That the integration between the conditions and the payments has been lacking for almost ever.
I agree. Give us an example. Say I'm the delivery boy
Right.
in the e-commerce company.
Yeah.
I come to you and say, here's your cup of whatever, or vase or something. And then you can choose to accept the vase or not, right? Because the color may be wrong.
Right.
So you want to explain that how your system works in that kind of scenario?
Sure. So at the very end, it works exactly like an escrow. So when you actually so when the delivery boy comes to you and gives you this vase, and you probably check it out, and then you swipe at your mobile app perhaps that okay, this is I have received this vase. At that point, this condition is met and the payment is processed back to the e-commerce store. Not before that.
Very interesting. So that way you can return the vase to me,
Yeah.
saying that this is a different color.
Exactly.
That's not what I wanted, and your money stays with you.
The money stays with you.
And the fact that you don't have to call the e-commerce company's service site or the call center and then go through that hassle, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Is that it's based on blockchain, you said?
Yeah.
How does it work in the back end?
So all these conditions are put into a smart contract and then deployed. So whenever one of these smart contract conditions are met, saying that okay, if this is correct, then process this. If it's not correct, then probably refund me back the amount. So it just happens on the smart contract itself, and it works on the decentralized ledger.
It's a rule-based engine.
It's a rule-based engine.
Can you build AI on top of this in the future?
Yeah. So blockchain as a base layer is a database. So when you have all that data, you can probably build any number of artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms on top of it.
It's fantastic. And how do you use UPI in this case? Just type the UPI number obviously and integrate that. That's it.
Yeah. So what we have essentially done is using to use a public blockchain, you'll have to use cryptocurrencies or tokens. What we have done is replace that part with UPI, and so you don't have to use cryptocurrencies or tokens. You can just use UPI as a payment channel and still use all the benefits of smart
And
contract.
tomorrow, when regulations come and say you can give tokens, say an Amazon token or Flipkart token, you're more than happy to integrate, right?
So it's so on the very core level, it's already there.
Right.
This is something that we built on top of it. So yeah.
It's interesting. How did this idea come about?
So we
when you say we, who is it?
Nilesh.
Nilesh. He's not here. We're sorry, Nilesh. We miss you. But when did you guys meet?
So we met around a year and a half ago, and we were both contributing to Indium network, which is the Ethereum-based blockchain proof of authority network on top of which our platform was built. And we were discussing, bouncing around ideas on a lot of things, especially how the cryptocurrency or token situation is too dynamic for an economy, for an enterprise. So we wanted to build something that's more convenient for an enterprise to use, and we stumbled upon UPI because that was the most phenomenal.
UPI allows integration of blockchain-based assets. Have they opened up their APIs with blockchain?
No, not really. So that's what we are doing. We have partnered with Kotak Mahindra Bank, and we have integrated that part. So using our platform, you can now actually do that.
I think what you and your co-founder have done is amazing, because it's so much more easier. I mean, I've been tracking retail. I think with your product, I don't have to, my customer service can improve. The delivery boy, his transparency will improve.
Yeah.
He will not be shafted, because there are some people who shaft him also.
Exactly.
Especially the consumers.
Yes.
Right? And the fact that there is absolute transparency in the supply chain is very important, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So to build this thing, was it complicated? You've taken on Ethereum, and have you built it on Amazon blockchain or something?
No. We have deployed it on AWS EC2, the servers.
Mm-hmm.
So we have deployed it on a couple of other servers, but we haven't used any of the
Amazon.
Any of the existing frameworks out there.
Okay.
We have we deployed using click-based network and a different consensus algorithm, which is proof of authority. And we deployed the network, and the network mainnet went live last year November, and since then it's been up and running.
Okay, I mean, do people come and ask you that a true blockchain works only when a crypto is connected? Would you agree with that?
Actually, for a true blockchain to actually work for a public blockchain, you need to have some sort of incentive mechanism.
Correct.
Otherwise, there's a lot of spamming that will happen on the network, and the network, and the more the spamming, the network will get slower and slower. So there is a sort of incentive mechanism always needed on the blockchain. What we essentially figured is instead of using the cryptocurrencies or tokens, we can use the fiat-based currencies at the same time to get the same job done.
Okay. You've been working on this product for a couple of years now?
For the last 1 year, yeah.
For the last 1 year?
Yeah.
And what's been the progress? When's it going to go commercial? You've done a lot of pilots, I assume?
Yeah, so we are going to go live this month itself, and after that we'll be working around with a few alpha users to get to the beta stage where we can open it up for everybody.
Okay, in your startup journey, there are a lot of pieces in the puzzle. One is meeting the right co-founder. That's one which you found a very senior person.
Yeah.
And he's from IIT. How did the matching of minds happen?
I think it was both our the interest and that we had towards building something common that fell on both our paths, that really connected us and had us going towards this. And we are both very passionate about programming and coding and maths and so on.
You met at a developer conference or something?
We met at one of the Indian meetups at a Cafe Coffee Day at HSR, and we started talking. In Bangalore itself, yeah.
And that's how the idea was born.
Yeah.
And there are many people who are saying smart contracts. IBM's doing something. Then there's the Hyperledger Fabric, which IBM uses. Then there's Amazon with its managed blockchain service. There are biggies getting into this. Are these guys going to do the infrastructure layer and allow startups to build on top of their layer, or will you startups have to compete with them head on?
So Amazon's blockchain is essentially just the infrastructure layer, so you can actually use it and directly build on top of it. IBM's Hyperledger, you can use it directly build on top of it. You can have a clone of it and build directly from scratch and so on. So that's always there. Startups usually focus mostly towards the end customer goals, so they wouldn't essentially be competing with these biggies. What they will be creating is probably will be with the help of either of these frameworks, and they
go after the market.
Ours is partially an infrastructure layer, and top of it also the application layer.
Application layer. And how? I mean, you got selected by Cisco.
Yeah.
How did Cisco help?
So Cisco helped a lot in redefining what our market should be, where we should focus, the use case and so on. Before that, we were just focusing on our infrastructure layer, which was blockchain for enterprises, and that's still there. But what we also realized after Cisco was that we should always focus on a particular product, a use case on top of it. That's where we came across the idea for the conditional payments specifically.
And the conditional payments also work in international trade, for example.
Yes.
Also, all our SMBs watching, you should probably work with them because they allow you to transact easily when you do an international transaction. You want to explain to them how it works?
Sure. So it works exactly like how letter of credit perhaps works now. And letter of credit is just a paper contract which you create. You can replace that with a smart contract and have the same conditions running on top of it. The advantages over the existing system of trade finance is that what you get now is autonomy, more transparency on each stage of the transactions and the delivery of the products and so on, and also automated payments which you get.
Okay. When Indian SMEs, right, sign up with you, for example, they say, hey, I love this, I love the idea, I don't want this letter of credit thing because I have to, it affects my working capital cycle, I have to wait for the party to receive, receive the goods, and only then can I, receive payment, or, even the bank finance or whatever. Can they come to you and say, look, have you bought the entire network together? Have you got a bank on your platform? Have you got the forwarding agent on your platform? Is there a logistics company on your platform? In the end, the issuing bank or issuing bank on the platform too. Would they ask all these questions? Is it valid to ask them for them to ask you these questions?
Sure. If they don't have an existing infrastructure as such, and they don't have an existing bank or a logistics platform, they might ask that question. But what we are providing is not a banking side or the logistics side.
Because the trust mechanism, all these guys have to be on the same platform, right?
Yeah.
So who brings them on the platform? The SMB has to do it.
So essentially they will already have all these entities or partners along with them. What we are providing them is a more trustworthy or more transparent mechanism for them to convey all these dialogues to their
so what you're saying is, once if I work with you, it's in my interest to go tell the ecosystem that, look, I am going to send you these digital signatures or these smart contracts. You have to only come and make any changes on this contract, right, on a digital contract.
Yeah.
Will they agree to it is my question.
So there's a lot of internet laws even which says that any digital records is accepted in
so there you have it, guys. See, when you sign up with these guys, it's in your interest to go tell your ecosystem that, look, please, let's go on a digital contract system because it's good for you. If they are saying that I can't be on a digital system, it's not worth to work with them. I know there'll be behemoths and there'll be incumbents, but it's in your interest because it's your money. And you're saying that if they did that, the bank can actually support them in working capital finance right away. The guy who's receiving the products globally, he also knows what's happening in the entire chain. Would you say that that's how a supply chain blockchain works?
Sure. So when they actually integrate, they will get instant reports and audits on all their transactions. So they get a very clear, clear data on their business path as well. So obviously all these records are always can be held across a banking partner and any other stakeholder who would want to invest in their business and as such.
Nice. Kumar, you have to tell me, is Acyclic solving for tomorrow in terms of tomorrow's large enterprise, or would you say tomorrow's small enterprise?
So currently we are focusing on the small and medium scale enterprises.
Okay.
But we're ready for large scale enterprises as well.
Yeah. Do you have a go-to-market strategy?
So we're currently working with Kotak Mahindra Bank on going to market, and what we are focusing on mostly is on the escrow part and the conditional payments related to escrow. All around that, and we'll be going for towards e-commerce companies and supply chain retail companies wherever these things are needed. And
How big is your team currently?
Currently, we are a very small team of 5 people. 2 of us are from Bangalore.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And are you hiring currently?
Not right now, but we'll be hiring soon.
Are you looking out for VC funding?
We are open for that. So we have been bootstrapped all along our way, and now I think we are at a very close stage to going live. And we would require funds to.
When do we see your first product go live? In a month's time?
In a month's time, yes.
In a month's time. If people want a demo of your product, they go online and try the demo, or they come to you in your office?
Currently, it's a very closed demo, and we're not open to general customers, so to say, we are B2B facing. So we send across our demos, and we are happy to send across the link where they can log in and try it out.
Okay. Do you have an email ID where they can contact you?
Sure, you can contact us at hello@acycliclabs.com.
Okay, for a demo, and you'd send your team to go show how this works.
Yeah.
What does it take for me? Say today I'm a 10 crore company. Say I'm probably exporting parts for a car maybe. If I work with you, how long does it take to come on your blockchain, and the integration, how long does it take?
The integration is very simple. It's a plug and play integration. It will take a few minutes to get up and running. So all you have to do is tell us all the conditions, and we have a form based system. You don't even have to know about smart contract programming even. There's a form based system. You fill out the form. A smart contract is auto generated based on whatever you have filled out, and it is deployed on the blockchain. So, and then after that you get a UI which is also auto generated, and APIs which you can.
Do I open up my ERP to you?
No, you don't need to do that. So what you will essentially have to do though is after you have deployed the smart contract on our platform, APIs are auto generated, and you can integrate those APIs in your ERP system. You can also tell us if a particular ERP, let's say for example, the particular ERP wants to know if the payment has been made or if the good has been transferred, and if it's supposed to be triggered by the smart contract. So we will have events in there, and you can add webhooks, and we will, and the platform will essentially ping back to your ERP system.
Okay, and is it bug free? I mean, when blockchain, I'm just asking generally, not Acyclic. When I integrate a blockchain ecosystem, how bug free are these systems?
So Ethereum is currently the most developed blockchain out there, and we are updated with all of the latest security features out there with Ethereum. Our platform in itself is quite secure. We have done some tests on top of it, and I would say it's very bug free. And the more the public blockchain is, the more bug free the network will be.
Nice, good to know. And in the startup world, you're busy selling, building technology, you're trying to win the VCs. But other than that, what else do you do? What inspires you? Do you get time to read?
Yeah, I read novels as such, some books. But what I like most doing is probably studying more and learning about what's going on new. I also run a blockchain community in India.
Nice. What's that community called? What's the blockchain community called?
It's called Blockchained India.
Blockchained India.
Yeah, it's currently the largest blockchain community in the country.
How many people?
There's more than 18,000 members now.
18,000 members,
Yeah.
and they're all developers?
Yeah, there's mostly the developers. Around 60% of the people, members are developers. Yeah.
Is there a link to it that you want to mention that people can come and check it out?
They can go to our website, blockchainedindia.com.
Blockchain India? Blockchained.
Blockchained, ED.
ED, is it?
Yeah.
It's a blockchain with an ED in the end.com, right?
Yeah,
Blockchain.india.com.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and so when you get there, what do people get? What do you help them learn or unlearn?
So we've been doing meetups with Blockchain India for the last almost 2 years now, and we have 4 active chapters: Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore. And we do meetups, and these meetups are free of cost. So we bring anybody who's working around blockchain side and really inspiring and innovative technologies, and they present us. So it's a free education.
Okay, let me ask you this. If somebody is starting in blockchain for the first time, they're a first year engineering graduate, or anybody who's interested in technology, getting into blockchain, where do they begin?
I said they should always begin with some of the YouTube tutorials maybe, or they can just drop by one of our meetups and just talk to some of the people around there. Yeah.
Okay, and where do they start? I mean, learning about Ethereum, do you need to learn some languages, programming languages? Is that important?
So it depends on what stage they want to start at. If they want to start at the infrastructure, they will probably have to learn C++, and Golang and all these languages.
C++, Golang, and what else?
There's Python, there's Rust, and so on. But
TensorFlow.
primarily it's C++ and Golang what they will have to learn. If they want to start at let's say the application layer, they will have to learn about Solidity, which is a smart contracts language what Ethereum uses. Solidity. It's very similar to JavaScript, but it's very it's Turing complete, and it's pretty easy to get started with that as well. If they want to start at the very end just creating dApps, they can probably just create dApps in any language, and there are libraries which they can integrate.
Would you say it is the future that everybody should get into?
Yeah, definitely. I think our decentralized network is much more needed than it's given credit for, or that it has been advertised as. Usually people advertise it as removing the middleman and all those sorts of ways. But I think that's not the part where you should be really focusing on. Where you should be really focusing on is that it gives more transparency and trust to connect with more stakeholders and partners, and creating amazing products like our Sentinel itself.
Okay. When it's decentralized, people say that you need to have a supercomputer at home kind of thing. Is that true?
If you want to run a validator node or something, you will have to have
and if you're mining or something.
If you're mining and all that, but otherwise, if you just want to just create an application and run, you don't have to do that. What we also provide is the managed infrastructure layer, so you don't have to run a node per se. You can just use our APIs to just get started with it.
Oh, as a developer, I can come to Acyclic and do it too?
Yeah, definitely. So all you need to do is, so let's say you're creating an application, you want to, or you have an existing product, you want to make it blockchain enabled per se, you can just deploy a smart contract, you get the APIs auto generated, you can just integrate.
That's a good way to do business too.
Definitely. That's what.
Okay. How did you get into blockchain?
So one of my co-founders at Blockchain India, Akshay, and me. Akshay, yeah. We started talking about blockchain around. So before Blockchain India was born, obviously, and we were very intrigued by how it was going on along. Of course, I was more intrigued around Bitcoin at that time. And so I just wanted to learn like what's going on in this space and all that. And at that time, I think Bitcoin was at $1,000 or something. So it
went up to 12,000 or 14,000.
16,000, 17,000. Yeah. So it went crazy after that. But all we wanted to do was learn about the technology more. So we started going to a lot of meetups around in Bangalore itself, which said blockchain, but at that time were all about cryptocurrency.
Okay. Guys, I mean, we just used the word Bitcoin. That was in the realm of speculation, but the underlying technology is very powerful for many use cases. Right?
Exactly. That's what we also focused. We at the beginning as well, we are not very intrigued by cryptocurrencies and all, but how it worked in the blockchain, the decentralized network, the ledger-based technology, the distributed databases and all that, how these things worked was very intriguing.
Okay.
Even with the Indian network when we were starting, at first it wasn't based on Ethereum, it was based on IPDB, which is a big chain databases public version, but IPDB got shut down in 2017, early January 15th. So at that time, we had to shift our focus onto other things where we stumbled across Ethereum as well.
Okay, so 3 things to do. One we spoke about is, we spoke about the smart contracts.
Yeah.
We spoke about Ethereum. What else should they learn in blockchain?
There's actually other types of DLT that's coming along. Not just blockchain.
DLT is distributed ledger technology.
So blockchain is a type of DLT out there. There are other types like IOTA, Hashgraph, Spectre, and so on. IOTA is another interesting, very interesting network out there. Tangle, it's based on directed acyclic graphs, DAGs. The acyclic word was very intriguing from there as well, and we also contribute to the IOTA Tangle network as well.
Very interesting. I like your knowledge in this. So tomorrow security will also be on a blockchain?
Security, it's
trust. We are solving for trust.
Yeah.
And security is the underlying layer.
Security is the underlying layer. Identity right now is a massive issue all over in the entire Aadhaar and all that. And I think it's a cryptography problem that identity has to solve. Definitely, it will be on DLT. It might be blockchain. It might not be some version of it. But
it's interesting. Can I ask you an academic question?
Sure.
Why are the security companies not talking? They talk quantum cryptography, but they don't talk blockchain. Is there a reason?
The reason is that enterprises right now are very scared about public sharing of data.
Yes.
Where the blockchains come in, the public blockchains, everything will be public, and so people usually are scared about, okay, what's going on with this? If I put my transactions on the blockchain, will everybody be able to see it? So it doesn't really happen exactly that way. It happens in a very hybrid way.
Nice.
So you have your data on your own databases, and you put only the transactions on the blockchain. So
Nice. You know, guys, you certainly have to contact Kumar Anirudh because he has a future of India in front of you. And you know, certainly I enjoyed this conversation. We're running out of time. If they have to come to blockchain.com, where do they contact you?
Blockchainindia.com. You can just shoot me a mail.
What's your email? Go on, quickly.
Aniruddha@acycliclabs.com.
Okay, and check out Acyclic. If you're a company that really wants to go global, try out smart contracts. It's in your benefit to get your network onto a smart contract. Believe me, it can change your world, change ours, and let us at YourStory change yours immediately with Acyclic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys. I'll see you all in a bit. Bye. Thank you. Thanks for your. Oh, the other thing is, I didn't know you ran a network, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. How many years have you been doing this?
Blockchain?
Mm-hmm.
Around 2.5 years now.
Very interesting, man. You should write for us. You should.
I don't write that much.
You should write for us. Writing is a skill you should